Hello and welcome back to my garden. It's a nice day today. It's actually pretty cool. I think it's only like 75 right now and it's almost frigid. Today I'm going to be transplanting a Japanese anemone and an Astilbe, which are right back here. See them? Yeah, neither do I. That's the problem. That's why I'm going to be trying to transplant them, take them out from back in here. This is the driveway bed, FYI, in case you didn't know if you're new to the channel. This is my driveway bed. And as I just mentioned, I have two plants back here that need to be moved. This space here, I'm going to be doing quite a bit with over the next 6 months or so. First, I'm going to remove these two. I did do a search on the internet and it said that now is a good time to be transplanting them. I think it's either now or spring. I'm going to do it now so I don't have to worry about it in spring. And I figure since we're into early September and the weather's relatively cool right now, the other reason is that we do have rain happening this week. I just had a ½ inch of rain last night and I think there's more rain coming later in the week. So I figured now's a good time to get these two moved. Hopefully they'll get settled in nicely and survive the winter. We're supposed to have a fairly warm winter and then they'll take off next spring. This is the theory, but they're not my only problem. Over here in the back I have a Japanese holly and right now it's got all sorts of vines growing up through it and it's half dead. The vines actually aren't killing it. I don't know what is killing it, but it's half dead. So I'm going to remove it. When these elephant ears die back, I'm going to take some of these elephant ears and move it over to where the Japanese holly is, right over here. So this way they'll fill in that corner of the foundation. It'll look a little nicer. I'm also going to take some of these elephant ears. I'm going to push them back towards the back of the towards the house. And then that'll allow me to plant smaller plants in the front that I can actually see. So that'll be happening, like I said, over the next 6 months or so. Now you have to try to figure out how to get back here and take out these plants. There, let's see if we can get back in here. All right, it's not too bad. And the two plants in question are right here. Oh, there is a label. This is important. The Astilbe that I have is called Black Pearls Astilbe. I'm trying to cut wide here because I want to get as much as the root ball as possible. And once I dig these out, I'll then maybe see about dividing. I don't know much about dividing Astilbe, so it's something I can maybe look into after I get this out of the ground. One of the plants that I have in this bed is a lyrope, and it's like a grass. It has a nice little flower, but it grows like an absolute weed. Come on, come on. Oh. And I don't want it growing in the next bed that I'm going to put it in, so off camera I'll have to do some work and remove it from the planting. And now for the Japanese anemone. I might take a smaller spade for this one. Now it looks like the Japanese anemone is spreading, which is a good thing. But if I can get the main clump out, I'll be pretty happy. And by the way, this is Honore Jobert Japanese anemone. I believe it has a white flower. Yeah, this is a bit of a mess, but I do have some roots here. I got some good rootstock here with, I'll show you guys later, with some new buds on it. So we're in the shade, which is nice. And I'm going to talk about the Japanese anemone first. So I had a rough time pulling it out of the bed. It was a bit of a mess. In my ignorance, I forgot how Japanese anemones grow. They basically grow from thick lateral roots, if I'm correct in that assumption or thinking, but they're easy to divide. This is actually a pretty good example right here. Hopefully you guys can see this, but there's all these little white bits right here. Those are going to be the stems and the leaves for next year. So they were starting to push up. And right at this piece here, I've got a very good root system. So I'm pretty happy about that. And I still have a leaf, which is also good. I mean, it's not going to last much longer, but the important part, and if you guys know better, or if you have suggestions, please leave those comments below. But I'm pretty sure that the important parts here are going to be the roots and the new stems and leaves that are going to be coming up next year. This one right here is a pretty good piece to transplant. Okay, here's another one. I've got a couple of leaves. One of them is broken. That's fine. But hopefully you guys can see here where it's pushing up a whole new one. Leaf and all. Leaf, stem and all. So this one should be good for replanting. Here's one. I'm going to hold it like this, so hopefully you guys can see all that. We got a lot of good secondary, maybe tertiary roots there. And there's a white little nub starting to push up. I don't know if this will survive if I put it in the ground, but I'm going to try. Worst case scenario, it fertilizes the ground as it rots down. Best case scenario, I get a whole new plant. So we got some good plant material here for the Japanese anemone that I'll be replanting. All right, this Astilbe is going to be a problem because when I dug it up as an entire clump, and what I got was weeds and lyrope, which I don't want, in the new area where it's going to be transplanted. There are some new stems here, which is nice. There are a lot of old stems. So I'm going to have to go through this clump right here, and I'll do it off camera, removing all the extra plant material I don't want, because again, I don't want to bring in along any of the lyrope or any other weed with me into the new space where we're going to plant it. So we'll be back in a second. All right, so I got done dividing my Astilbe, which I really wasn't intending on doing. I was just thinking in my brain that I was just going to dig up the plant and then transplant it, which I really could have done. But it had a lot of weeds and the lyrope intertwined with it, so I decided to get all that out. So I wound up doing, which I didn't even think I was going to do, is divide the plant. Most of the plant I divided by hand. It was essentially just falling apart. It had grown out so much. It was a big, massive clump. Now this clump of Astilbe has been literally in the same spot for 4 years now, maybe 5 years. It's been a long time. It's one of the original plants I planted. So it got divided. What I got from it was maybe about a dozen plants ranging in sizes. Let me show you. This is probably going to be the smallest right here. If I can bring that in closer. So what we have here is a little bit of root. We've got a leaf, a new leaf pushing up, and an older stem. So this will get planted out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant all of the Astilbe in one general area. They'll be spread out. So as they grow up and as they fill in, they'll basically become one big mass. That's my plan, that's my thinking. So I'll keep all of these Astilbe together. Now this one right here is a bigger one. And hopefully you can see we've got new growth pushing up. We've got some good roots, and we've got some older stems, which I went and got my clippers here. We're just going to cut those off. We'll leave the new stems. And what you can see, and again, many of you experienced gardeners have probably seen this already, is also some of the thick roots that were once part of I'm guessing this is the crown of the plant. It would have been nice if I actually did some homework before doing this project, but I literally thought of this project this morning. It's been sort of on my mind for a while, but I literally said, hey, let's do this today. Here's another good example of some of those thick roots. Again, the camera's just giving me all sorts of agita today. Here's some of those thick roots that I cut through with a spade, but I have a lot of good younger roots, and then I have some good stems up here. And here's a really big clump that I think I got all the lyrope out of. Now we're going to take all these bits and pieces that I have, and I'm going to show you where we're going to plant them. I've got my bucket of a Japanese anemone, my Astilbe, and then some fresh compost. And I'm standing in a corner of the flower garden, which is under shade most of the day. I'm also kneeling in something that's really painful, like a pine cone. As you can see, I have foxgloves, which are in different stages of growth. Some of these have flowered this year, others have not. But this corner right here is bare and empty, and there's a bit of a bare and empty spot right behind that salvia. So I'm thinking I'm going to put the Japanese anemone in that bare and empty spot. So it'll grow. The Japanese anemone gets to about 1 foot to 18 inches tall, roughly. I think that'll be fine as a mid plant, as it were. I could put it right up in the front, but I have the salvia there. Those salvia I will be transplanting, I believe, this fall as well. So they'll be getting either that or next spring. I have to do my Google homework and research and not pretend like it's Monday again. But those will be getting transplanted, and that will leave a gap here in the front for me to plant something else. This spot does get some late afternoon shade, but for the most part, as you can see right now, we are in shade. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant the Astilbe right here in this corner where I'm kneeling, and then the anemone over there. So let me stop talking and let me start planting. How did you get out of the house? You were in the house. I left my dog in the house. Sophie, how did you get out? Maybe I didn't close the door enough and the wind blew it open. So Sophie came out to join me. Okay, so let's move on with the show. I bet you that's what happened. The wind must have blown open a door that I didn't fully close. First, we're going to put the tag to remind me what variety of Astilbe this is. The other nice thing about Astilbe is you don't need to plant it very deep. The roots are fairly shallow. And on any of the pieces that I have here that have old stems, I'm just trimming the old stems off. They're dying back anyways. So like this one, the stems look good, but they're old and dying. Just going to take them out. I don't know if this is what you're supposed to do, because I'm not an expert. I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So if you've grown Astilbe and have suggestions and or advice, please leave those comments below. But I think, for the most part, the plants will be a-okay. Probably the best part of planting underneath the pine tree is the free mulch that I get from the pine needles. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I've planted all my pieces right in this area, as I said I would. And hopefully they survive the winter, some of them maybe, and they all come up next year. I don't know if it'll flower next year, but if they survive and they put on new growth next year, I'd be thrilled. Let's plant that Japanese anemone. All right, first things first, I have to get rid of this dewberry. There we go. As you can see, that's a lot of vine. The good news is, if you can grab it by the roots, you don't have to get pricked by the thorns. So, that's out of here. I think I will add a little bit more compost to this spot before we plant. Now we're going to take my label. Always put the label in. Remind yourself what you planted here, so when it doesn't grow, you know. And we're going to start taking the Japanese anemone. From my experience, from what I've seen and what I have here in my own garden, the roots go very much laterally, so they don't go very deep. So I don't need to dig giant holes. And just like the Astilbe, I'm taking all these and I'm putting them all in one spot, all these divisions. And my hope is that next spring, again, some of this will have survived and they'll come up as one big mass. Right, Sophie? Now let's give it a good water. And as always, we have to make sure we give it a good watering. This will help the soil settle in around the roots, or at least so I'm told. So I got the Japanese anemone and these still be transplanted and watered in. I'm hoping that I didn't kill both plants. I don't think I did. I think they'll survive. I think they're tough plants. I hope so. And by doing the division, it also sort of increases my chances, I believe. Could be wrong. If you think I'm wrong, please leave those comments below. Let me know what I did wrong. But by doing the divisions, I feel like I'm increasing my chances that at least some of the plants will survive. And if some of the plants survive, even if one of the plants survive, in 3 to 4 years, I could be dividing them again because they may be large enough clumps. But I'm pretty sure more than 2 or 3 of them will survive. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. It's something that's checked off my fall to-do list, as it were. As I mentioned earlier in the video, we're supposed to be getting on again, off again rain, and it's supposed to be relatively cool this week compared to the hot summer we've had up to this point. It's some sort of weird atmospheric thing where cold air is coming down from Canada, and it's, like I said, right now it's probably, let's see, when I started, I think it was about 75. It's currently 75. And as you can tell, there's a pretty good strong breeze out today. Today is the last day, I believe, of the Epic Gardening Labor Day sale. So they've got all sorts of deals going on right now. I think it's like buy 2 beds, get 1 free, or buy 1, get 1 free. They've got seed starting supplies. I think something like up to 30% off. Don't quote me on any of this. Go over there, take a look. But if you want to save yourself an additional 5% off whatever sales they have going on with whatever you're buying, use my link below or here on the screen, and you'll save yourself an additional 5% off. I will also make a very small commission off of that, but there will be no additional costs to you guys. So you guys get to save a bunch of money. I make a small commission, which helps keep Sophie here in tip-top condition. Man, it is windy. It's also a good day to be doing some weeding. So maybe I'll come out after I get done editing this video and do a little weeding tonight. With all that being said, I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye. Come on, Soph.